We're really happy to have you here. Leslie, take it away.
So thank you everyone for coming. I'm so very excited to have the opportunity to speak here today. And I was very, very excited and nervous about it. So I have tons of content, and I will try my best to edit it as I go along. What if you could navigate and illuminate your internal landscapes of consciousness made manifest in the world? What insights, breakthroughs, inspirations could be found? Intentional creativity may push you, pull you, thrill you, inspire you, and pull you towards threads of inquiry that rise towards mystery, stepping forward into quantum finding and progressive discovery and even healing. I have always loved being creative. All the arts, music, art, drama, dance excited me, giving access to self-expression, exploration, and confidence in myself and in the world. It gave me a place to learn, to explore, to shine, in a place that I could call my home when life's edges got rough. It was a place to heal and point me in a new direction. Painting started to open up what I would like to call phenomena that has started as a child and treated at that time with wonder and also some trepidation. My earliest dreams I can remember from my crib, recalling a vision on the ceiling at night when I was sleeping in between my parents. I was probably around 4 years old. And I saw a beautiful graphic kaleidoscope of flowers blooming and retracting that were both transparent and deep in color. And the images entranced me, and I made a note of the experience, realizing that this image was conscious of me as I was conscious of it. And I was not sure if it would continue because I had never seen anything like it before, and I've never seen anything like it since. The image itself was somewhat interactive, and it seemed to know that I was there. And I just hung on intently, watching its unfolding beauty, and trying not to let my heavy eyelids close. This was my first experience, that I believe, with visualizing consciousness. My parents were both English teachers, and their very unique, colorful personalities and flowering thoughts provided me ample visuals to all of their words and teachings, and they are my first teachers. I was lucky at the age of 13 to have an incredible art teacher, Stephen Muno, who received a government grant to teach children the arts, and the inquiry was, can you teach children creativity? The grant was called Project Visual Flexibility, and I was able to learn the techniques throughout my high school career. The method encouraged deep visual introspection, eliciting the power to visually shapeshift, create, rethink, visualize, creatively. I had a fascination for eyes and drew them in many of my paintings. It was as if my own third eye opened up and an inner scene commenced. Some of those paintings are still my favorites today, and many have been sold for many hundreds of dollars 20 years later, which delights the teenager in me. All the work created during that time has the underpinnings of the natural ease and usefulness in my visionary abilities. These were my first exercises in taking internal images and making them real upon the canvas. This was my first creating form from consciousness. Art has a way of opening up areas of understanding as it taps into this conscious awareness. I made a crude icon during those high school days, explaining to one of my childhood friends, Michelle, who is now a doctor, how I sensed art and science closely linked up, almost like fingers on the ray of a wheel. Painting took on a healing nature at that time. It was a place I could go to, capture visions, dreams, struggles, aspirations. I could express myself on the paper to journal or on the canvas. It was very expressive time. Poetry was also a catalyst. I was reaching and searching for answers during those teenage angst passages. It helped through any sadness or isolation during my parents' tumultuous marriage, through all the striving, sadness, yearning, and inquiries. My theater arts teacher, Mr. Butanic, was the advisor of the school literary magazine, and I became the editor of the poetry club called Scribe, did all of the graphics and many of the spot illustrations, all which is showing the leanings towards my future career in graphic design and publishing. The right brain and left brain process of writing and painting comes naturally to me and is important in this creativity process. In the high school years, you have to choose what you want to study, and I found that art was the place that was most personal to me, where I created my own work instead of singing someone else's song or someone else's dance or doing someone else's play. It was my own vision, and I was accepted into Pratt, and those next years were dedicated to the foundations of art and design and the learning for my hands to catch up with my head. There was nothing like Pratt, and I was just a mere drop of light in a school full of starlight and sunbeams. It was such an incredible energy and synergy when everyone speaks the same language and shares diverse cultural and expressions differently and creatively. As much as I wanted to continue painting after my freshman year, I knew I had to make a living and focused on communications design, and that's where I started my practice afterwards, and I've been a sole proprietor since. After graduation and alongside my career, I took classes at the School of the Sacred Arts, the New School, and private classes in psychology, art, and spirituality in art. And now I'm just going to start a diagram of how these areas are starting to overlap. So my first area of interest was in creativity. And then in subsequent years, it was in spirituality. And in psychology, if I'm spelling this correctly. So I continued with these interests and continued teaching children the arts and putting workshops through exploring consciousness, bless you, through expressive painting in my garage, fondly called the Garage des Artistes. I came back painting fully one day after my father's passing. It was a very dramatic and traumatic experience around his illness and his passing, and with lots of drama between my siblings. The next day, an online class was offered, and it was a 6-month journey to write a novella and a portrait of my legendary self, Lola Angelica Luminosa. The class was offered by Shiloh Sophia McLeod. and this is my legendary self. I call her Lumi for short. The painting itself is deeply mysterious and continues to unpack information over the years. I continue to reference it as I reference my other paintings. It's a way of pulling me forward into the future, and I also align myself with a lot of the synchronicities and the messages from this painting. I could get not enough of the work of this intentional creativity, and so I took the next class and the next, until I learned the methodology of creating and teaching intentional creativity, which has fully engaged me, and I've developed coursework to combine all of my efforts and interests so that I might teach others. Knowing that painting can lead us on emotional, spiritual, and physical path, it also takes us to a world of love, light, and possibility. I continue the inquiry of, is it possible for someone to be influenced and perfectly healed by the talisman of paint, whether by gazing upon the image itself, through the painting, or the pure intention written in and under the painting on the canvas? Painting has a way of sharpening one's intuitions. Many awarenesses open up as well. I even had dreams in areas that I'm not familiar with at all, like quantum physics. Dreams on string theory, entanglement, dreams regarding the great attractor, and many of these things I've never heard of before in my life. The latest area in this area of quantum science fascinates me and provides ample metaphors with what I'm learning through intentional creativity. So what initially started for me as this tri-flower blooming has now taken on this quadrifoil shape, and what I've noticed is this eye right in the middle coming back to my little obsessive eye that I've always painted in high school, but also creates a very interesting thought process for me, as there's also an overlapping eye in this direction drawn correctly. And it's this intersection of spirituality, creativity, psychology, and quantum science that deeply intrigues me and is what's pulling me forward for this last session of my life. I'm going to try my best to define intentional creativity, but honestly I feel that the definition will continue to bloom and grow naturally, not only for myself, but for people who enter into the work for their own use and creative purpose. It seems very boundless in a way. Its compelling nature is deeply healing. It expands our ability to recognize the power of choice and possibility we hold in our work and within our place in the world. This intentional creativity, or painting as a spiritual practice, is what I like to define as a cogent process starting with the pure desire of intention that can be imbued upon the canvas, page, or object through touch, writing, prayer, paint, that is charged and commingled with pure power and healing from the divine. This process answers the question and solves the problem simultaneously, adding the intent or prayer on the first surface at the beginning of the painting, though influenced by me intentionally, and the calling of healing for another is really resolved in the most direct and miraculous way. Through the connection to spirit and the request of inquiry or prayer, miracles happen. The inquiry is part and parcel of the journey to understanding the request, imbued on the gessoed painting surface. The painting is the vessel or container of the work, uncovering the desire manifest through the painting. When working with intentional creativity and internal images taken from consciousness, the symbol itself can become sacred. The art becomes a living being. It heals, creates, informs, and activates on a deeply personal yet universal level. The International Conscious Research Lab work theory that both intention and resonance are necessary agents in order for change, shift, or outcomes to be allowed to happen deeply intrigues me. In the work of this intentional creativity method, we utilize red thread as a way of making connection with our students and clients in workshops in order for those to create intention with themselves and within their painting work. There are many, many meanings to the use of the red thread in a multitude of cultures. And the one that resonates for me the most is the ancient Chinese proverb that says, "An invisible thread connects those who are destined to meet, regardless of time, place, or circumstance. The red thread may stretch or tangle, but it never breaks." So I would like to do a red thread ceremony as a way of connecting us as a group and creating resonance so that we can experience and set our creative intentions. I'm going to pass this red thread throughout the audience, and I ask all of you to hold on to the thread as it's passed throughout the room. You can hold on to it with 2 hands, and you can weave it back and forth, pass it on then to Brenda, ball of thread. And continue to hold on, and then continue to pass it to Lori, and then Melinda, and then we're going to pass it through. I would like the videographer to have a piece as well. I'd like everybody in the room to have a piece of it. Melinda, maybe go this way.
Can you go behind?
Yeah, it might be easier because I'm going to be over there writing. Or I don't know how I'm going to do this. I'll figure it out. It'll come back to me.
Be creative.
We'll be creative. Lori, what I might ask you to do is, can you move that easel over here?
Sure.
Okay. So I'm going to talk as this is passed. I'd like everybody to hold on to it as it's passed throughout the room. So resonance, it takes place when the stimula put into our stories evokes meaning or responsive chord. It's the capacity for sharing deep emotional states that arise in our brain and activates and promotes feelings of harmony. Resonance, the ability to evoke or suggest images, memories, or emotions. Merriam-Webster says resonance is a quality or sound that stays loud, clear, and long for a deep time. A quality that makes something personally meaningful or important to you. A sound or vibration produced in one object that is caused by the sound or vibration in another. Emotional resonance is some form of agreement of sympathy between the emotions that someone else is expressing and your own. You can feel what they feel if only an echo. Your heartstrings have been plucked. Rupert Sheldrake, and as well as in the book Molecular Memories, which is in the back room, says that in resonance there's a built-in memory within nature that's part of its evolutionary development. Similar things in the past affect similar things in the present and hold systems together. That within the morphic genetic field, we are created as usual. We are a collective human consciousness encoded in every particle of matter. Resonance, that which is personally meaningful and important to you, filtering out all other frequencies that are not important. You get to choose what dimensional field you place yourself into. So the question is, what field sustains you? As the red thread is passed, can I see where it is at the moment? Okay, continue on.
And it's about ending.
Really?
Yeah, we may get one more person, but
Okay. Okay, no bummer.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're gonna pretend to continue with this red thread. I think I made 50 pieces, yes?
Do you want people to move forward so that?
If you would like to get up so everyone has a piece, because there literally should be a segment for each person in this room.
We're losing.
I made 50, and perhaps I haven't made enough. I don't know if that will work, but that's up to you. What do you feel as a group? Would everybody like to have a piece?
People fill in the empty seats. That will help.
Yes, if you fill in the empty seats, there should be. Oh, but you wanna keep that tied, yes? Yes, is it possible? I will. Lori, my friend, the teacher, has suggested that I create a circle. If we can create a circle together, this will make this even more powerful for everyone. And please do not untie the piece of the red thread yet. You will at one point, but if that's possible, that would work.
So fearlessly, pick up your chair if you can, or we will help
Or
you.
everybody stand. I think if everybody
And come to the front of
stands.
the room, or stand.
Everybody stands.
Right, we can come to the front of the room.
Wait.
And we'll create a circle.
And Lori, just stay right over here.
Well, we'll have to all
I
snake
want you to go this
around.
way.
Yeah, even at the outer edge of the room, that would be fine. So we're gonna ask you to have an experiential component. Okay, so come. Great.
So Lori, can you come next to me on my right, please? So this line, if we can start the circle, yes, you see the circle is forming? Can guys go this way? If everybody can come around this way?
You all need to move in that.
Okay, so if we can come this way, we'll come down this way. And I'm going to, Lori, can you bring that easel over, because I'm going to then use it as a big magic marker. So continue to open up the circle, and we'll come on over here, and I'll continue. So I'd like to get a sense of everyone in the audience. If you could raise your hand, how many people in the audience are from the science community? Okay. How many of you are artists? Okay. How many of you are healers? How many of you are educators? And how many of you are spiritual directors, or I said healers, spiritual people? And I don't know what other category. I just want to get a sense of that. Okay. So I'm just going to hold on to this, and can you get in here, Lori? And put your hands on it too, as well. Everybody's got to hold it. So we are in red thread circle. So it's going to be interesting as I flip this. My question will be, if you're a scientist, you could set your intention. It might be in a question form, or it could be something like, show me the way to understand, for instance, what gravity is, or what is the nature of reality, or is consciousness the unified field theory? What is it that you want to know? If you're a psychologist, I forgot to ask that, if you're a psychologist, you can set your intention of, how can I help heal consciousness in a personality disorder in a particular patient? If you're an energy worker or healer, you could say, show me the way to heal myself so that I may heal others. And be careful what you ask for, and remind me to tell you a story about that later. For educators, you may say, please have my students and audience have a complete open mind and heart to receive my message completely. We're getting the gist of this? Okay. So what I want you to do is to make your intention positive. What I'd like you to do is say your name, and in one sentence, I want you to first start with the phrase, "Show me the way," or "I would like to learn about whatever." So I'm going to start with Lori. After you say your name and your intention, I'd like you to untie that piece of the red thread. That red thread is yours and no one else's, and then we'll continue around the room. Okay, is that clear? Okay, Lori, you go first.
Okay, so my intention is to find out, discover what connections I might have with someone in this room that I have not yet discovered.
My intention is to understand better the nature of consciousness.
My intention is to have a clearer vision of the path to unity.
My intention is to really understand how I can serve better, how I can do better, serve more.
You two are permanently linked now.
And this red thread was blessed on the altar of the UN Chapel.
My name's Melinda, and I'd like to be shown a way to heal myself so that I can heal others.
I'm Marcin. My intention is to understand others so I can heal that God in better way.
I'm Renessa, and my intention is to connect with the art of creativity.
My name is Jay, and my intention is to learn how to heal consciousness.
My name is Nicole, and my intention here today is to support my friend Leslie in her endeavors, and also to learn some clarity about my purpose and our purpose here in life.
My name is Robert, and my intention would be to just understand the nature of relationships between people and between the rest of the universe.
Hi, my name is Barbara, and my intention is to keep figuring out how to let go and get unstuck of things that kept me stuck.
My name is Carol. My intention is to be conscious.
To undo your piece of the red thread. Carol, you are.
My name is Makiko. My intention here today is to connect to heartbeat with Mother Earth so that I could reach to the being in the sun, seventh dimension.
My name is Anne, and I'm here today to hopefully get a jump start, a hint, a jewel, something to take away to help me through my art to help others. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Rebecca, and my intention is to work very hard in my life to help people.
My name is Michael, and my intention is to better understand those things that aren't easily perceived by our senses
gather here today and members of it beyond these premises.
My name is also Carrie. My intention is to learn something new today.
My name is Leanne, and my intention is to discover my creativity.
My name is Lauren, and my intention is to learn more about intentional creativity and how I might use it in my art and with my family.
My name is Alex, and I hope to find the best ways to apply my skills and talents and knowledge to advancing science and integrating it into things like creativity and the betterment of human life.
My name is Maria, and my intent is to spread my energy in a positive and healing way.
My name is Kevin. My intent is to better understand the art in nature and the nature in art.
My name is Sean, and my intention is to better understand how developing my creativity can help me enjoy life better.
My name is Jody. My intention is to help others and learn how energy feels, to enhance skills in individuals and help them to make a difference, potentially directed in the right direction.
My name is David, and I'm interested in finding more information about the source of consciousness.
My name is Anne, and I aspire to live as an instrument of the source of consciousness.
My name is Flo, and I am seeking to find a way to maintain peace of heart.
I'm Romy. My intention is to be able to sorry, the words are missing. Fulfill my meaning in this life and to become a connector to people that are seeking the same.
My name is Josh, and my intention is to be what I'm supposed to be, whatever that is. So basically, to just be myself, and hopefully that can help others. I guess I need to help myself first, so I guess my intention is to just be myself, hopefully that affects others.
My name is Amir, and my intention today is to learn more about consciousness.
My name is Pat, and my intention today is to understand my creativity more and enable it to flourish.
My name is George, and my intention is to better understand all the connections that surround us.
My name is Stephanie, and my intention is to figure out how we're connected to the spiritual world.
My name is Leslie, and my intention is how can I use intentional creativity to continue to deeply heal people and memory. So everyone, thank you so much. Now with the red thread, if you choose to, you can put it on your wrist, wear it. You can ask a friend to knot it for you 3 times. You can use it as a bookmark in the Molecular Memories book. Would you like that book? You could put it on an altar or a special place at work, in your car, or some place that can be a touchstone for this intention. So we can all sit down now. Thank you so much. So change takes place when our beliefs shape and creators is to shift this reality, creating through love with great clarity and pristine vibration. We can more fully access our greatest potential with higher consciousness through awakening in group consciousness, just like in the simple exercise that we just did, and cohesiveness. So with the level of resonance, synchronicity, aspirations, and change easily occur. Our beliefs shape our reality, and any thoughts or limitations you have shape what you believe. And when you design a shape into a belief, it changes what you perceive as your reality. Consciousness carries truth, and what you experience as human beings has its own truth. Manifestation creates reality, and emotions direct that reality. So intentional creativity allows you to stay in that vision and really expand your perspective and gives you permission to explore beyond all perceived boundaries. So your intention can be something that you imagine. What can your life be? What do I want? What is my calling? What do I really want in my life? And as you paint and write using image, word, and intention, you access your inner knowledge. Playing with the potency of color and paint, paper and pen, transforms your own stories and symbols into a satisfying journey, which creates a material reality, first on the paper, and then onto life. For some people, they hear answers that come to them. For some, they see. For some, it may be equation. For some, it may be a symbol that continues to pop up. For some, it may be synchronicities. For others, their answers are a feeling that comes alive. Intentional creativity is a universal language that creates community and connection to all of our individual ideas, whether it's about using our mind or higher purpose, or even divinity. It touches all through fundamental design, symbol, and colorful image that transcends all cultures, barriers, and languages. The latest discussion of the field, I thought, in quantum physics is very interesting to me if we use the analogy of our canvas as a field. It's important in wisdom for us to discover and integrate into our practice onto our canvas. There are many questions regarding this aspect of the quantum and how it relates to our field, how it affects us artistically, emotionally, physically, or energetically in either a personal or collective way. A fellow peer asked me, is what you're saying, Leslie, that the basic idea is that our minds and hearts can affect change on the physical level, and that there's an invisible but physical real space or field that can come together to create, and in this field, a transformation occurs, even transformation of elements? You're suggesting that painting and the tools we use to paint can be a doorway for transformation and healing? Well, yes. Our bodies, our hearts, our minds, our energies can affect change on the physical level as well as the energetical level and spiritual levels too. This is one of my favorite topics, and I realized that this is the work for what we're here about. Once I got into the coherence or the flow of this information, everything that I did, every workshop that I led, everything that I read or heard just kept opening up and linking and linking and linking, and it was never ending. I just couldn't get to the bottom of it because there is no bottom. Just like beautiful fractals in science, the wisdom is infinite and full of grace. Asking the questions opens up journeys to discover. We're powerfully informed by our work through the question. We answer the call for others, whether it's in our prayers, that they be blessed as well. This process is both tangible in the sense of working with paintings, writings, and intangible by thought, prayer, dreams, intentions. It is the connection between the two which manifests the resolve to touch our very lives. This call and response is heard. The field becomes the third space, creating in this way, expressing out our inner story through our dream, meditation, or symbol upon the canvas, inspires us and informs us as we create a larger context. We're connecting to the web of energy systems of life. Our intellect, spirit, and body connect to the painting through our skill set. We're plugged into the major power source that sends us into a state of satori, creating an expression of our soul outwards, ready to be witnessed and received by the world. So how can we condition the space for this to happen? There is an ancient theory that our own bodies have many gridworks of energy. Besides the 7 chakras, there are several hubs and meridians throughout the body and etheric body. The heart energy produces as an electric organ, and the heart creates an electromagnetic field 360 degrees beyond the skin out into space. Some say 8 to 10 feet outside the body. The heart has a strong electric magnetic proponent, 40 to 60 pounds stronger than the mind. Frequency changes based on one's emotions. Field changes are broadcasting emotions out into the field. The heart communication center is like a physics field interacting collectively within humanity. It is an energetic connection to others, our world, and possibly other dimensions and states. The brain interprets the data, but is the intelligence of the heart that regulates it. William Miller, on the emergence of new physics, says, coherence is an optimal state when everything is aligned, we're feeling positive emotions. Achieving your heart coherence, a scientifically validated state in which your heart and brain are energetically aligned and cooperating with one another, is a learnable process. Decreasing emotional upset and increasing positive feelings so that you can make empowering and life-affirming choices for yourself and for your life help maintain that coherent alignment between our heart, mind, and our emotions. When our energy is put out into the field, we create our own field and environment. It's the change your attitude, change your life, change the energy field. Collectively, our fields can impact the earth itself. Using the power of heart for connection, we make changes in consciousness that change the world. William Miller says, there's a kind of intelligence in our living system within the imprint of intention that can be increased within the space. In 1 or 2 months, it stays the same. By the 3rd month, it increases. The space or vacuum, if you impose the order onto it, changes the symmetry. It holds memory. There can be communication in the universe, but not in the normal way. All of our life is driven by this thermodynamic pump, this organ function or higher gauge symmetry, or chi in the meridians of the body, and prana in the chakra systems. This is the same magnetic biofield that acupuncturists utilize in their healing modalities. Miller says that each year you pump it, it gets higher energy, and as a group of humans, if we pray and we create the field, we're creating positive energy into the space. Each year we're creating sacred spaces by pumping it to higher levels. And this energy is transferable. We have potential to do amazing things. Well-meaning, compassionate people in their path to personal, social, and global coherence will raise that gauge symmetry, raising the chi of their environment, and successful people can condition that space. You first condition the space, and with resonance before you hold the intent. We are all potential avatars created to do miraculous things as we continue to carry this energy out into our life. What level we're born with and what level we can develop through the practices in our life make the difference. There's an inner self-management and a practice of muscle aligned with the energy of spirit. The mind and the heart in the first place is part of the intention. So the imprint to manifest into the level of spirit works like this. Soul plus spirit plus mind plus emotion equals energy. It's a little different scientific equation. Our chakra system, or auric level, is a biosuit and is our teaching machine in this life. One experience I have of this was 2 years ago when I was trying to attempt to change the diaper on my wee one, and I tried to pull him off the floor and onto the changing table. And his intention was, no, which he said several times. When I tried to scoop him up, it was as if he weighed 100 pounds. Literally, I believe that he's able to connect his energy to the earth with his intention, keeping him anchored there for as long as he can. Likewise, when he wants to run into my arms and I pick him up, he's as light as a feather, full of joy, and almost ready to fly. Are people in the audience familiar with Dr. Masaru Emoto's work on water, with water? Yes. I heard him speak down in Virginia Beach at the Edgar Cayce Center, and I saw the most amazing water crystal images that he does not have in his books, all formed by this intention of prayer. So for those of you who do not know his work, he's a Japanese author and entrepreneur who claims that human consciousness has effect on the molecular structure of water. And his hypothesis has evolved over the years, and initially he believed that water takes on the resonance or the energy which is directed at it, and that polluted water can be restored through prayer and positive visualization. Considering that we're made of water, and so is our planet, you start to question just how much positive and negative thoughts can affect your life and relationships. And now with regard to physics, there's been many recent changes in the discovery of the basic workings of physics. Before, it was seen that molecules were set, that they were the basic building blocks and did not change. However, this paradigm is changing to include it as a kind of liquid, malleable, plastic, creative force. So if we take the premise that as humans we have the ability to change the elements, water, stone, crystal, air, earth, fire, energy, if all of these elements can be transmuted, then my question is, can paint, brush, canvas, and intention be an open portal for a modern type of alchemy? I believe the answer is yes, indeed. These elements are malleable as well. Therefore, a brush, paint, and canvas as the field become a healing device. We infuse our painting with potent intention. The challenge is that we have to let go of our ego voice, our critical voice, which, as we know as artists, is a challenge when we work. Most of the initial time in my classwork with beginners is learning to curb that voice, learning to invite, instead, the voice of the muse. Or you can invoke other guidance if you choose. You can work with your higher self, the divine feminine, the Holy Mother, Dr. Martin Luther King, anyone who holds the band of love or the resonant radio frequency that helps with our authentic intentions for healing. This magnetic electrical phenomenon is chi, and our emotions give this intention an imprint. Electrical phenomena are commonplace and unusual events that can be observed which illuminate the principles of physics of electricity are explained by them. Electrical phenomena are somewhat arbitrary divisions of electromagnetic phenomena. and remind me to tell you about electric phenomena story later. Our physical body or emotions is important to manifest physical reality, love being the highest bandwidth which creates miracles. So if we are creators or co-creators in a sense, we can utilize our own human consciousness with nature to create change. So coherence, by Merriam-Webster, says it's the integration of diverse elements, relationships, or values. That pretty much sums us up as humans. Some synonyms are balance, harmony, symmetry, unity. Believing, as William A. Tiller, who talks about coherence, that we're all spirits having a physical experience as we ride the river of life, together we interact with physical reality through our intentions. We are multidimensional beings. The energy level whereby spirit produces physical action is an equation that flows in both directions. Mass begets energy, begets consciousness. And so, consciousness begets energy, which begets matter. So yes, this premise is that painting and the tools that we use to paint can be a doorway for transformation and perfect healing. It's possible that the point of the energy webs are points that connect from our energy centers to a web, and the space in between is like portals to different fields. There's a focused awareness that has possibility outcomes. Painting an archetype of Lumi, or your legendary self, or the divine Madonna, or Gandhi, calls us to become a self-initiated one by stepping into the portal of the canvas as we paint. That archetype that lives within me, we become flows of their energy as an air. The unity of mankind's divine spark in every human being is the code of consciousness that's encoded in our DNA. Because the artwork is powerful with its focused intention, it affects you, the painter, and is also powerful and healing for you personally, but it's also healing for you, the witnessing community, who reflects upon the art. The truth of the electromagnetic body, mind, solar, spirit is a network which has the ability to heal the sick. We are avatars in training as we're designed as an encounter-prone personalities, a distinctive, spiritually sensitive, and visionary psyche that we may collectively represent at the next stage in human evolution. We are witnessing a shamanizing of humanity, and I invite you to step into this field of potential possibility within your canvas. There is a thesis by the International Center of Consciousness. I'm going to pop some pages. And their thesis is that the body, through the agency of the life force, might represent that intersection through a more direct connection with the source than the mind, or at least the conscious mind, and may be the ground from which intuition and creativity arise. This dynamic reflects the Taoist principle of balance, of complementarity, of the fundamental principles of yin and yang, the receptive and the active forces of the universe. My thesis, which is developing, is similar, and that is that the body, through the agency of life force, the activating light bodies of the body electric, may represent that intersection through a more direct connection with source than the mind, or at least the conscious mind, within the ground from which intuition and creativity arise, and can create and recreate and heal the body and heal memory that lives within the body, within the light bodies, and we can utilize this natural energy to manifest shifting reality through intentional creativity practices, discovering, problem solving, and exploring consciousness and creating breakthroughs for humanity. Intentional creativity through the agency of life force may represent a direct connection with source or soul. And with that sacred marriage of resonance, which may be represented as love, is the fertile ground from which life, intuition, creativity, and healing are allowed to become. So, encouraging your heart back to a creative practice, I encourage you to take the courage to step into the unknown, the unimaginable, the imaginable, the possible, all through the intentional creativity practice. And if you're interested in learning more, please let me know. I would love to be your guide in an intentional creativity workshop here. If anyone is interested in creating a painting workshop for this audience, please let Brenda know, let us know, because I would love to hold it here in this building. It's such a perfect building for a painting workshop. And in the meantime, if you'd like to put yourself on my mailing list for any upcoming talks or programs or workshops, you can sign up on the back table. And I'd also like to invite all of you to a group show of my students. It's called Luminous Memory, which is held for a handful of my students. And we've found that memory has been a running theme throughout their work this year. And if you come, you'll be surprised to hear about their artist talk and how it came to them. And this show will be held at my home in Walt Township, which is located right across the state, the Jersey Shore. It's about 50 minutes on January 30th, which is on a Saturday. And our next painting workshop is held the next day, Sunday the 31st, which is called Restoring the Goddess, and there's a few spots open if you're interested. I would really love to thank all of you for your kind attention today. Thank you very much. So if there's any questions, we can create this as a question and answer time, or I could read some other anecdotes of what people learned through the process. Yes?
Hi, thank you so much for the beautiful story. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I cannot notice about your oops, oh, sorry about my coffee. The throat chakra was illuminating, and then also I see it all from your mouth as well.
Yes.
Along with all the other things going on, but I wonder if you could kind of begin to explain to us.
I would like to explain it. It took me a while to understand it myself. I think her question was that she noticed on the painting that in the throat chakra there's an illumination, and that there is some light and illumination coming from her mouth. So this was really an important step for me. Being an artist is tough enough in life. Through my art came the healing modality, which I thought, wow, when energy started coming through my paintings, I had to learn about that. So I started to learn about Reiki, etc. As I started to do this work, what I realized was I had to come back to a teaching and speaking place to be a teacher. And that was difficult for me because both of my parents are teachers. So when two people are very verbal, you usually become the one who listens, right? So as a visual artist, you take in all the information and you create symbols out of it. So this was a very big step for me to move forward into my speaking and my teaching, which really took quite a while for me to integrate, to say I am a teacher too. And this coming through her mouth is, someone explained to me, and it became part of her name, Angelica, is that angels breathe in the badness of the world and breathe out the pure light and love manifestation. So that's what that represents. Thank you for asking that. That's really integral in this painting of her. Any other questions?
You
Yes.
mentioned you were gonna come back to an anecdote about electricity.
Oh, yes. Thank you for asking a question. I have developed a body of work that I'm teaching, and my first student who took the class was called Painting the Light Body. We were setting our tensions just like we did with the red thread. There was a candle on the table, I had the red thread, and there happened to be an electrical storm just about starting outside. And I set the intention, I'd like to heal myself so that I can heal others. I passed the thread around to her. She stated the same as a nurse, I'd like to heal myself so that I can heal others. And in that moment, I saw a flash of lightning about a quarter mile outside the ground. And inside of my house, ball lightning exploded in between us. So it was such a powerful experience, I was somewhat shocked by it. And if she didn't open her eyes and say, what the beep? Was that electricity? Was that lightning in your living room? I was just, I probably would have not known even how to hold that. So that's one example of electrical phenomena. Thank you. Any other questions?
Comment on that, because I think this is how we all heal. We're all taking in and putting out. We're all channels. And it's when we're unwilling to take in, I'm a psychologist, but it's when we're unwilling to take in the aspects of our consciousness that are difficult to take in, that are dark, that are heavy, whatever words you like. That's when we don't heal, because we're not willing to process our own consciousness. And I believe we all must process our own consciousness.
Yes, thank you for that. Any other questions or comments? I would like each of us just to take home a little homework. I hoped if there's more time I could do a thought experiment. I liked the idea of a thought experiment. I've never really done one before, but I thought one way we can consider this is by remembering the intention that you set today and following the breadcrumbs to what it is that you might be able to learn towards it. So it might come to you in synchronicity, might come to you in symbol, you might have a dream and wake up and you hear some word, just jot it down even though it doesn't make any sense. My hope was that we might have some time to do a meditation, but I wanted to keep us on a timely basis. But I'd like you to do that and create this thought experiment that this intention that you've set here today is going to be something that carries you out through the year as a place of inspiration, exploration, and discovery. Thank you.